Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's time to call this public hearing / regular meeting of the Del Rio San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees to order. Mr. Secretary, would you call roll for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mesa. Mrs. Luna Chavez.
Present.
Mr. Almaraz.
Here.
Mr. Overfelt.
Here.
Mr. Mesa.
Here.
Mrs. Webb.
Present.
I'm present as well, sir. You do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the records show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting was duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Today being Monday, December 15th, 2025. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. If it's okay, we'll have recognitions first, and then we're going to move item 13A, which is the audit, all the way up before the public hearing. If that's okay with board members? Good. Okay, then we'll have, first item we have on our agenda is opening ceremonies. We'll have a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Again, we're down to item 4 on our agenda, fine arts recognition. We have Vanessa Martinez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Before you today are going to be just a few students that represent Del Rio High School Choir Program. This fall, under the direction of Miss Angela Patassi, our singers have been actively performing and auditioning in the region. We are proud to share that 11 of our students earned placement in Region Choir and 4 advancing to the pre-area level. Tonight, we're excited to share with you 2 familiar selections, Jingle Bell Rock and Feliz Navidad. If you feel so inclined, you may absolutely sing along.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in the jingling beat. That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air, what a bright time, it's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and mingle in a jingling beat. That's the jingle bell, that's the jingle bell, That's the Jingle Bell Rock. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart.
That is very difficult to do without music, in the background. So congratulations to all of you girls, guys, the group.
And just a friendly reminder, tomorrow the middle school choir and our high school choir will be performing their Christmas concert here at SBC beginning at 6 p.m.
Great. Well, it's great to have, to start the meeting with some Christmas music. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, as I mentioned, we're going to move one item up, 13A, Business and Finance. Item A, consideration to approve the comprehensive annual financial report for the 24-25 fiscal year. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The 2024-2025 fiscal year audit has been performed by our external auditors, Crowe LLC. And this evening, we have with us from California, Mr. Jeff Jensen, to present a report on our audit findings.
Welcome, sir.
Great, thank you for having me. It's my privilege to be here tonight to present your audit report for the year ended June 30th, 2025. And we've summarized the audit, which is, quite a long report, into a few key slides here for you, and happy to answer any questions that you might have. So our audit is, or our job as your auditors is to form and express an opinion on the financial statements that are prepared by management. Our job also is to look at federal compliance too as part of your audit. The audit starts with a risk assessment of the district and its financial operations, and from there we design internal control procedures to perform as well as substantive testing in order to be able to gain enough audit evidence to sign our opinion on your financial statements. So this audit started way back in the May timeframe of looking at your the planning procedures, like I said, the risk assessment, as well as some of the compliance procedures. And then we were back in September to look at the actual numbers of the district, and then to wrap things up here in the October and November timeframe. This year was a little bit unusual, again, because of the federal government. The federal government normally issues the audit guide to be able to do that portion of your audit in the July timeframe. They did not issue that this year until the week of Thanksgiving. So all of the school districts here in Texas have had an extension that was granted by TEA in order to complete that portion of the audit. Substantially we're complete with the work here for your district, but that did cause a bit of a delay in essentially wrapping up and concluding the audit because of their delay getting that compliance guide out for us. Oops. All right, management is responsible for the preparation of the financial statements, ensuring that you're complying with both federal and state requirements, and then ensuring that you have internal controls to support the operations of the district to produce material financial statements for us to be able to audit. This year, there were 2 new accounting standards that were required to be adopted by the district. The first one is GASB 101 on compensated absences. And really, this was kind of an overhaul for all governmental entities to look at the different types of leaves that exist to make sure that they are being accounted for and accrued correctly in your financial statements. So as part of adopting this standard, there was a restatement to your opening net position of about $5.2 million. The second is on GASB 102 on certain risk disclosures. This one really didn't have an impact on the district, but was properly adopted for your financial statements. As we look at corrected and uncorrected misstatements, I'm happy to report that there were no audit adjustments. So the numbers that were given to us to audit are the same numbers that are in this report without any modification. We did have one uncorrected misstatement, so these are smaller differences. As we go through the audit, we track them to make sure they don't aggregate into a material number. And so again, this is an immaterial matter here and was not required to be reflected in your financial statements. Just some other communications that we're required to share with you as your auditors is that we did not encounter any difficulties in dealing with management. We didn't have any disagreements. We're not aware of any other consultations. So as an example, if we were going through the implementation here of 101 and they didn't like what we had to say and they called one of our competitors and asked them what they thought, that's called opinion shopping, and we'd want to report that to you. And we're not have nothing to share with you on regarding that. And then lastly, there were no significant or adverse events that have happened during the audit. Certainly we wouldn't wait till tonight to share those with you, but happy to report that there were no significant or adverse events to bring to your attention. As far as the federal audit goes, we did complete that, and so there are programs that we're required to look at this year were special ed and Head Start. Your significant programs we're required to look at on a triannular rotating basis. So, we looked at these programs this year. There'll be other programs that we'll look at next year as part of your audit. So as we look at the different types of opinions that are a part of these financial statements, the first is on the financial statements themselves. The district received an unmodified opinion. That's the type of opinion you want on your financial statements. Your financial statements comply with all the applicable accounting pronouncements and are free of material misstatement. And then the second is on federal compliance. The district received an unmodified opinion on federal compliance. Again, no compliance findings, clean report. Just a couple of financial highlights for you of the district's position at June 30th, 2025. The total assets of the district were approximately $174 million with a net position of 37.2. That includes then your net pension liability and net OPEB liability there, and there was a total change in your net position for the year of about $300,000. At June 30th, the fund balance was about $38.3 million, which reflected a decrease during that year of $1.8 million. Again, as far as findings and recommendations go, we have no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to bring to the board's attention tonight, so clean results there. And my last slide is just to remind you that the district's financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. We had no material audit adjustments, no findings, and everyone did a great job of preparing for us to do the audit. Like I said, there's a lot of requests that go into this audit, literally thousands of requests that we ask of different folks throughout your district. Everybody's highly responsive to us and allows us to be able to complete this audit timely, and so we really appreciate their support and their cooperation and working with us as we go through completing the work that we have to do. So hard to get better results than that, I think, as far as clean opinions, no adjustments, no findings, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'll open it up for the board members if you have any questions. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for the
Safe
opportunity to work
travels.
with the district.
And again, I applaud all the department for great reporting and a great audit. Thank you. Amy,
Thank you very much for your support.
you want to read the recommendation, please?
Yes. Sorry. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the audit report for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as presented.
Heard the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion. Motion made by Mrs. Webb, seconded by Mr. Galindo. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. This time we'll go back to our agenda. And if you don't have any citizens to be heard, we have a public hearing. This item 6. First item we have is overview of School First Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Amy Childers.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I will be presenting our annual presentation on our School First ratings for these are based on the 2023-2024 fiscal year. This is the 23rd year of Schools First, which is the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas for school districts. This hearing is to announce that the district received a rating of an A superior with a score of 96. This rating is the state's highest, demonstrating the quality of our district's financial management and reporting system. As part of the School First compliance, every district is required to provide a management report to the public, which will contain an overview of the School First system, present the district rating, which was provided by TEA, and then allow for public comment on the report. At this time, I'm going to go over the 21 indicators that are part of the first rating. Some of them are what are called ceiling questions, which are it's a yes or no, which is a pass or fail. Others have a numeric value point system that are assigned to them. Number 1, was the complete annual financial report and data submitted to the TEA within 30 days of the November 27th or January 28th deadline, depending on the school district's fiscal year end date of June 30th or August 31st, respectively? Yes, the annual financial report was approved by the Board of Trustees on November 15th, 2023. Number 2, was there an unmodified opinion in the AFR on the financial statements as a whole? For the 23-24 year, that is also a yes. Our annual financial report was submitted with an unmodified opinion. Was the school district in compliance with the payment terms of all debt agreements at fiscal year end? The answer is yes. The district paid all obligations in a timely manner. Number 4, did the school district make timely payments to the teachers' retirement system, Texas Workforce System, Internal Revenue Service, and other government agencies? The answer is yes. All payments to government agencies were paid in a timely manner. Number 5, was the total net position of the governmental activities column in the statement of net position greater than 0? The answer for that indicator is yes. Number 6, was the average change in fund balances over 3 years less than a 25% decrease, or did the current year's assigned and unassigned fund balances exceed 75 days of operational expenditures? The answer for that is yes. The district's average change in fund balances over 3 years was a decrease of 0.031%. Number 7, was the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures? We received 10 points, which is the maximum for that. Our district had 133 days of cash on hand for the 23-24 financial year. Number 8, was the measure of current assets to current liabilities ratio for the school district sufficient to cover short-term debt? We received 8 points for that. Our ratio of current assets to current liabilities was 2.9282 for the 23-24 year, which received us 8 points out of 10. Number 9, did the school district's general fund revenues equal or exceed expenditures? If not, was the school district's number of days of cash on hand greater than or equal to 60 days? We received 10 points for that for a yes answer. Number 10, did the school district average less than a 10% variance when accompanying budgeted revenues to, when comparing budgeted revenues to actual revenues for the last 3 fiscal years? That indicator is not being scored again for this year, so we automatically received the 10 points for that. Number 11, was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? We received 10 points for that. The district ratio was 0.2541, which is less than the 0.60 required for 10 points. Number 12, what is the correlation between future debt requirements and the district's assessed property value? We received 10 points for that. Our ratio was 1.4592, which is less than the 4 that's required for the maximum points. Number 13, was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal to or less than the threshold ratio? For this 23-24 year, we received 8 points. In order to receive the full 10 points, the ratio needed to be below 10%. Our percentage was 0.1069, which is moving closer to the 10% due to district reorganization we have done the last couple of years when compared to prior years. Number 14, did the school district not have a 15% decline in the students to staff ratio over 3 years? We received the full maximum 10 points for that. The district's ratio was a decline of 0.0131% over 3 years. Number 15, was the school district's ADA within the allotted range of the district's biannual pupil projections submitted to TEA? We received the maximum 5 points for that. The district's ratio was within 4% of the projections that were submitted to TEA. Number 16, did the comparison of public education information management system data to like information in the school district's AFR result in a total variance of less than 3% of all expenditures by function? That was a yes for that indicator. Number 17, did the external independent auditor report that the AFR was free of any instances of material weaknesses in internal controls over financial reporting and compliance for local, state, or federal funds? The answer for that was a yes. The district's external auditors reported no material weaknesses in the 2023-24 audit. Number 18, did the external independent auditor indicate the AFR was free of any instances of material noncompliance for grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds? We received 10 points for that. Our external auditors reported no instances of material noncompliance in the 2023-24 audit. Number 19, did the school district post the required financial information on its website in accordance with governmental code, local government code, Texas Education Code, Texas Administrative Code, and other statutes, laws, and rules that were in effect at the school district's fiscal year end? We received the maximum of 5 points for that, for posting all required information on our website. Number 20, did the school district's administration and school board members discuss any changes and/or impact to local, state, and federal funding at a board meeting within 120 days before the district adopted its budget? Again, that indicator was a yes. We did discuss those during the 2023-24 budget planning process. And indicator 21, did the school district receive an adjusted repayment schedule for more than one fiscal year for an overallocation of foundation school program funds because of financial hardship? That indicator is considered passed if a district does not receive an adjusted repayment schedule, so we pass that indicator. So again, with that, our score for the 23-24 fiscal year was an A, a superior rating of 96. As part of the financial transparency that we're required to post on our website, it will include this report, as well as a link to the superintendent's contract, any reimbursements to the superintendent and board of trustees, any outside compensation of superintendent in exchange for professional and personal services, any gifts of $250 or more to the superintendent and board of trustees, and any district transactions with the board of trustees. And that is all that I have at this time.
We'll open it up for public comments. Is anyone? This is a hearing. Hearing none. Board members, any questions from? Then I just want to make sure that on indicator number 8, during your tenure with the district, has this been an 8 before? I see the 10s, the 2 previous years.
No, sir, during my tenure, I believe it's the first time it's been the
Okay.
8.
So that's not a concern.
No, sir.
As long as we get an ID, we're okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that closes the portion. Hearing no comments from the public. Again, that closes the hearing for the financial rating. Thank you again, Amy.
Thank you.
And your team for a great job. We'll close the hearing and open up the regular meeting. Go item 8 on our agenda. Item 8, intruder detection audit report. Chief somewhere.
Hector, what do you call the chief? He's oh, there.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's report is on the intruder detection audit. During this report, we had 2 findings, 2 corrective actions. You can see that we are at 43%, 17 out of 16 campuses that were visited. On November 5th, 2025, one of the auditors visited Robert Bobby Barrera, a STEM magnet. As you can see, we were green across the board, meaning he was unable to gain access into the campus, found no doors, no gates, unsecured. Unfortunately, we do have corrective action, and that action is for the weekly door sweeps that are required for each campus. He did note that he was unable to view 2 weeks of the required weekly door sweeps, which were the week of October 20th and the week of October 27th. As a result of that, we were given corrective action that's due January 4th. The second corrective action that was noted was on December 2nd, 2025, the auditor visited Ceniza Hills Elementary. Again, from the graph, you can see that we were green across the board, meaning the auditor found no unsecured doors and was not able to gain access into the campus. He did note that he did note some corrective action for the weekly door sweeps. In his report, he noted that he was unable to view the weekly door log for November 3rd.
Chief, can you just raise the mic a little bit so that,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Is this better? So as a result of these findings, we are required to do corrective action for this campus as well. On December 8th, 2025, we had corrective action for both campuses where we discussed security procedures to include the weekly door sweep. We will include this in our corrective action that we have to submit to the TEA. In addition to this corrective action, my office will now monitor on a weekly basis the door logs across the district to make sure that all the door logs are up to date and we are in compliance for that. And that's the end of the report.
Any questions for Chief Foss? Mr. Galindo?
Chief, in reference to the door logs, when you're saying your staff, does that mean it's going to be administrative, like your supervision, or is it going to be based off the officer per campus who's going to have an overview of those logs?
No, it would be myself. Will view it on the district level and then communicate that up the ladder.
Okay. Just have clarity.
Anyone else? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next item we have is item 8B, overview of usage report for district software programs. Mr. Carlos Barrera.
Good evening, Board President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. The following slides are the usage reports for academic intervention and support online programs used district-wide. First report is the Renaissance Learning Accelerated Reader Program. It is used at the elementary and secondary campuses. The main purpose of this program is to support and improve students' reading proficiency and comprehension. And here we see in the second column the total number of students per campus, the total students with activity, the number of tests taken, the number of tests passed, and the percentage of tests passed by campus. Second program that we'll review, the Renaissance Learning Star Reading Program. This is also used by both elementary and secondary campuses. The main purpose of this program is to assess and monitor students' reading grade levels and growth throughout the year. Again, on the second column is the number of students per campus, students tested, and the percentage of students tested by campus. The Renaissance Learning STAR Math program is only used by elementary campuses. The main purpose of this program is to assess and monitor students' mathematics achievement levels and growth throughout the year, very similar to the STAR Reading program. Again, we see the number of students by campus, the students tested, and the percentage of students tested by campus. The IXL program is used by elementary campuses in 4th and 5th grades and middle school campuses at all grade levels. The program's primary purpose is to provide personalized skill-based practice that help reinforce and master academic standards in core area subjects. This one is a district usage report. Here we see that 3,607 students are registered for this program, 231 teachers, and it is being used on 12 campuses. Currently, our district has 2,167,613 questions answered this year. On the next slide, you get a better visual of the time spent on the program. Total time spent is 23,068 hours. Of that, 63% is on skill practice, 27% is on assessments, 4% is on quizzes, 3% is on learning games, and then 2% is on group jams. That's a collaborative learning opportunity. This program can be used at home and at school. 95% of the time it is used, the hours have been logged at campuses. 5% have been used at home. The next program we'll review is Progress Learning Program. It is used at elementary campuses and is intended to provide standard aligned practice and assessments that help students develop and master academic skills they will see on the STAR exam. So again, very similar to IXL. On this report, it starts at the beginning of the year and it shows questions answered by week. This is a better visual of the campus's usage. Ceniza Hills has the most usage, followed by Ruben Chavita Elementary. The online program Summit K-12 is used by our elementary campuses, grade levels 2nd through 5th, and our secondary campuses. The main use of this program is to provide language intervention supports for our emergent bilingual students in preparation for the TELPAS state test and overall language proficiency. Here on the second column, you'll see the total logins by campus, the total number of minutes used, the enrolled students by campus, active students usage, percentage of activity, and average minutes of activity. The Lexia program is used at our elementary campuses. The main use of this program is to provide language intervention support for our emergent bilingual students in kinder and first grade. So again, very similar to Summit K-12, but for our younger students. On this report, again, you see the November usage and the total logins by students, 213 for the year, 131 in the week of November 10th, 163 the week of November 7th, and so on. The average gains, a little bit to the right, you'll see the progress of these students, 210 students, and it varies from their usage. Edgenuity. Edgenuity is a program used primarily at the high school level, at all the high school campuses. This houses our credit recovery courses. It is also used to supplement and test prep for our ACT, SAT, Advanced Placement, TSIA, and our STAR EOC exams. And here you see 359 students enrolled, have used the program in the last 7 days. The total number of hours, the average number of hours used is 12.9 hours. And it's hard to see. 409 students have completed their enrollments, and then because it's used primarily for credit recovery, students are enrolled for multiple courses, and they finish one at a time. So they could be enrolled in several. However, their completion is a little slower than their enrollment. Okay. Are there any questions?
Ms. Webb?
Mr. Barrera, is there any reason why we have X number of students per campus, but only a certain number of students are tested?
For which program, ma'am?
Well, I'm looking at the Renaissance Star, for example. I'm just going to take the first campus, Buena Vista. It has 646 students, but only 541 were tested. And when you go down the road, you notice the same
Yeah.
with the other campuses. Is there a reason for that?
So different campuses have different intervention plans. This year, a lot of the campuses opted to help support their most at-risk populations in a face-to-face setting in small groups versus an online platform. The online platform is still used, however, as supplemental.
Ms. Webb, any further questions? You're okay?
Yes and no. That's okay.
Anyone else? I have a ton of questions. I requested this report because, again, we make expenditures that are in large amounts of money regarding software programs. And some of these reports are okay, some are not, as far as, I can't really tell, again, how many teachers are utilizing it. And it's really meant for principals to look at your individual teachers and see how many teachers are really taking advantage of this or not. Now, accelerated reader, for example, a lot of times the librarian, makes the kids enroll and test, during the morning hours before the bell rings and so forth. But there's a big correlation between reading and, again, understanding, what they're reading, and vocabulary and so many other things that are tied into reading. Decoding is one thing, but comprehension, and vocabulary mean a whole lot. And so as individual principals, you look at your teachers and how many are utilizing that, because you do have labs and the software is available to them. There's some programs that I'm concerned with, Accelerated Reader, Ruben Chavita, for example, could be utilizing a lot more of that. Now, I understand, like Fabio Barrera, their scores are high, so I'm not too concerned with that number there, but the Renaissance Star reading, the levels should be, and I'm glad to see 96% and 97, 98%. Then we go to the math and, it's a lot lower, and we know that students need a lot more help in math. but we're making an expenditure, and it should be utilized and monitored by the principals at least for their individual teachers that they have on their campus. Now, I wasn't not able to decipher anything from my Excel. The report needs to be more comprehensive. I really can't understand that report. My concern is Lexia. K1. We have 26 staff. The staff that have logged in this year is 12. 4 have logged in the last 30 days. That's concerning for me. Lexia K1, as I understand, is a great program and it can benefit a whole lot of students. And these are the students that, once exposed to programs such as Lexia K1, they're quick learners. And so we have very few people that are logging in and using this program. So that is a concern. But I wish we had better reports in regard to the other IXL. I really can't decipher that one. But again, I just want to make sure the principals understand and the teachers that we're making an expense for software. And if it's not being utilized, then when we make our budget decisions, some of these programs, why are we paying for them if they're not being utilized? And so I would like for the principals to make sure you go by individual teacher and the percentage of usage, and then encourage those teachers that are not going to the labs or not utilizing the programs, because our scores are not that good. I mean, they're okay, but I mean, I'd like to have an A instead of a C or high B. We all strive for better understanding, especially. I just mentioned to Dr. Rios, Blue Bonnet has a math program and Blue Bonnet has a reading program. And so Blue Bonnet teaches reading in a very sequential manner, and it's decoding and then, understanding comprehension, reading comprehension, and so forth. But it's also reading passages that they can understand and be able to answer questions. But at the same time, the content, what they're reading, whether it's historical things about the Alamo or science, something having to do with science, but it promotes vocabulary and promotes the growth in their learning comprehension and reading skills throughout. Dr. Rios.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I know that the Lexia report is a little confusing, but I want to say some things, but if it's okay, can I ask Karen to come up to the front? I think she can clarify something, because on the Lexia report, it's primarily a report used by students. So if we look at on the left-hand side of the report, that's the student usage, and it's by week. So you can see that on November 10th, 131 students used it. And because it's primarily a report for early grades and primarily for bilingual students, 131 really is a significant use. And then you can see the next week, it was 163 students, and then the week of December 1, it was 165. So the question for you, ma'am, is on the staff side, what activity would the teachers have in it that would explain the limited use? Because on the student side, there's plenty of students that are using it.
It's really just the instruction they're having in small groups. And so when they do their rotations, they have their students go and use the Lexia English. And so as they're doing that, it's just a continuous time on that program. And it's just back and forth with the English language. And then there's a rotation that comes along again. So I believe it's strict instruction that's happening in the classroom with the small groups and that rotation that goes along in it.
But if the teacher is using the Lexia, the rotations,
Right.
when they come to the teacher isn't necessarily having to use the program because plenty of students are using it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So,
Because a lot of the teachers use it in small groups. doesn't mean the teacher's engaging them with a computer. Can you just explain that rotation real quick, just to give a good perspective of how the 160-plus students are using it in a group, but then they come to the teacher, and that's a small group, almost one-to-one instruction?
So it has been explained to me, and I've seen it once or twice. So they'll have a small group of the computer, and then groups, there's other rotations going on at the same time. And so as soon as the teacher has done their small group with the small group setting, then they'll go to another group and do something else, and then get to the computer, and then have their time there, and then move forward. So, and then the computer progresses the student as needed. So they might be at one setting, or it stops them, for different things in the platform.
So, as a supervisor, are you able to monitor, like, who has most progress from your teachers, from your staff that are using?
I didn't hear you. Does who have?
Were you able to, like, I guess, notice teachers that are having very successful progress by utilizing this program?
Yes, we had in the past 2 years. We've had progressive advancements in summer school, because that's where it started 2 years ago. And this year, it's just kind of slowed down because it was a strategist who would go around and, help out as needed. So we're trying to rely solely on the teachers, which is, how it should be, of course. But at the same time, they have to do their routines within a limited time.
Well, again, the reason that I asked for this report is for the utilization, so that teachers can utilize every tool available to them. And if it does show progress, then, again, some encouragement needs to happen so that you can get other teachers to utilize the program, and again, it's available to them, so might as well use it if it's proven to be successful.
I understand.
Okay? All right, thank you. Mr. Barrera, I don't know how you can improve the next report in regard to the IXL. If that report could be a little bit more detailed, whether by grade level or by school, somehow.
We'll look and see what other reports we can pull from that program for usage. I know that this was the primary report that the program had, but we'll see what we can do. We'll report back.
And in regard to computer labs, I don't know if you can, by elementary, the number of hours that they have logged in? Computer
Sorry?
labs?
So this program is used in the classrooms as well, not just in computer labs. Since we have the Chromebooks in every classroom, the classes don't have to go to the computer labs anymore.
Then are you able to find out the number of hours that they have logged in by classroom?
That's something we're going to have to look into, sir. But we
There's some
can-
reports available, Dr. Rios.
We'll look at it, Mr. President. We'll see how we can improve the report. In particular with the software programs that are used across the board. We'll look to see what the report can provide.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would help quite a
Yes, sir.
bit. Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, can I mention something, Mr. President?
Dr. Rios?
I know the reports are the reports that are provided by the software. What we did at the last principals meeting, we reviewed how the library, the resource aid, and the lab aid are used. And we've given the latitude to the campuses because we have computers on wheels in every classroom, the freedom to either have, resource aid and library aid or computer aid. But maybe we'll have to retweak that and just have some specific duties for the computer lab managers and maybe be able to produce more reports. But we'll look at that and we'll give you an updated report on before the end of January, since we're already going on break this week. And then we'll see what we have to do to be able to produce those type of reports down to the teacher. Okay, Mr. Barra?
Yes.
Yeah, when I see some of the schools, like 97%, 98%, I mean, that's awesome. But then you see some that, again, 61%. And I understand like Barry Barrera, I mean, they're doing well with the scores, Blue Ribbon School and so forth. I understand that. Whatever they're doing is working well. But I think, for the other schools that are struggling, I think we need to utilize all the tools that are available to the maximum extent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Yes.
Next report is facilities and construction updates. Mr. Hector Chapa.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation includes updates on the following construction projects: the Del Rio Middle School chiller replacement project, the stadium lighting project, as well as the warehouse parking lot resurfacing project. The chillers replacement. The chillers are scheduled to arrive on December the 20th, Saturday. The contractor will be setting up a crane to remove the chillers starting Friday night, the 19th, and unload and onto the trailers to remove those chillers from the site and start installing the chillers on the 20th. The project's supposed to progress through the 2nd of January. During the week of the 29th through the 2nd, pump installations are going to occur, and the startup should begin on January the 2nd on the chiller and pumps. Piping installation is scheduled from January the 12th through the 16th, and the system controls are scheduled between the 5th of January and January the 23rd. At no time that the campus will be without a chiller functioning mechanically. At least one, if not both, will be available by when the kids return from the winter break. The stadium lighting project, materials were delivered December the 5th. Today, contractor was inside and began the project installation. Per the gentleman on site, they're hoping to be done before Christmas with the lighting. However, the show lights are going to take a little bit longer, and they figure they'll be done by the end of December. The warehouse parking lot resurfacing project, it'll be done in 2 stages. The repair area is scheduled to be done starting next week. It'll take a couple days to do a full depth repair of a strip of area that's within the middle of the parking lot adjacent to the dumpster. In that area, they're going to go down 6 inches, remove the existing material, and replace it with hot mix for a total of 8 inches, 6 for base course and 2 inches of surface. The surfacing will be done the long weekend of January the 17th through the 19th. The contractor assures that they'll be completed within 2 days. Are there any questions regarding the projects before I proceed to the work orders?
So I have one question. I guess the buses will be relocated to another area?
The warehouse, for the warehouse?
I'm talking about if they're going to be kind of repairing the area, whatever facility or whatever vehicles are there, will they be relocated, whatever is on that pavement right now?
The area they're going to be working, the warehouse, is supposed to be closed for the winter break. So there shouldn't be staff or deliveries taking place.
So, Dr. Rios?
Yes, Mr. Mesa, and they are going to repair it in 2 separate times. This is only the warehouse parking lot, does not touch anything on the buses.
But there are delivery vehicles that are,
Well, it's mainly employee vehicles. Deliveries usually happen when schools are in session, so we don't foresee any type of,
before the cafeteria delivery vehicles were there.
yeah, now mainly the deliveries to the cafeteria happen at the campuses. We've hardly used the chillers that are there, so we don't foresee any type of activity going on during the repairs.
No, but I'm talking about the warehouse parking lot.
Nobody's going to be working during the holidays, and our vehicles, our delivery vehicles, we can park them in the bus area, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, that's what I'm concerned with, because there are some delivery vehicles that take cafeteria equipment and meals back and forth, and so they were stationed there at the warehouse, in that area.
Yeah, that won't be a problem, sir.
Okay. We can go on to the next.
Yes, sir. The work order numbers for the maintenance department, the previous 90 days, 946 tickets were received, 838 were closed for a percentage rate of 89%. Previous 15 days, 0 to 15, 84 were received, 61 were closed, 73%. 16 to 30 days, 127 were received, 117 were closed, 92% closure. 31 to 60, 385 were received, 336 were closed, 87% closure. 61 to 90 days, 350 were received, 324 were closed, 93% closure. Technology department, previous 90 days, 2,733 tickets were received, 2,582 were closed, 94% closure. On 0 to 15 days, 220 were received, 193 were closed, 88% closure. 16 to 30 days, 424 tickets were received, 399 were closed, 94% closure. 31 to 60 days, 968 tickets were received, 921 were closed, 95% closure. 61 to 90 days, 1,121 tickets were received, 1,069 were closed, 95% closure. And Transportation Department, previous 90 days, 235 tickets were received, 214 were closed, 91% closure. On 0 to 15 days, 18 were received, 17 were closed, 94%. 16 to 30 days, 29 were received, 26 were closed, 90% closure. 31 to 60 days, 75 were received, 67 were closed, 89% closure. 61 to 90 days, 113 tickets were received, 104 were closed, 92% closure.
Any questions for Mr. Chapa, board members? I'm glad to see the completed numbers, percentages, 90% or better, so it's getting a lot better. So
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item we have is the consent agenda. Again, there's
We have one more report, sir.
one more report, I'm sorry, proposed construction projects, very important. Item D.
I'm going to ask Teresa Hernandez if she'll help me queue up the item. We'll discuss it from me up here, and if everyone can pull out the presentation for proposed construction projects, just so that you can make some notes on the items that we mentioned. If you'll help me out, Sandra, I'm going to talk from up here. Okay. We know that in November, the bond election didn't pass, but there are some projects that might be more urgent than others. What I want to do today is just review some of these proposed projects, talk about some excess fund balance that we have and the reasons why we have it, possibility of some maintenance tax notes, and then ask y'all to give us some recommendations what we do in the future. if you allow me, the first thing I want to do is review the first projects. So if we look at project number 1, it's a Bobby Barrera Elementary Campus. That was a estimated cost of $7 million. And it describes the square footage, the classrooms, and serving pre-K through 6th grade. Again, that is one of the projects that we were going to do with a bond. We do have a lease that is coming up, and in the absence of any other federal grants, the board has to decide if we're going to move forward. There are some funds available. That is one of the projects that's on our minds. I didn't list the projects by priority, so I don't want anybody to think that project number 7 has less priority than project number 1. It just so happens that Bobby Barrera is a huge project for us, and it was listed first. Okay. I'll ask you, if there's a project that strikes a chord with you that you really want us to push forward, put a star by it so that you can comment on it. The second project is approximately $2 million, and it's the expansion project for the Buena Vista cafeteria. This, again, was another project that would have been completed during the bond. Project number 3 is the classroom renovation, also at Buena Vista. That has an estimated cost of $5 million, and it will touch every one of the classrooms, restrooms, and some HVAC replacements. Project number 4 is the San Felipe Memorial Middle School gym addition and renovation project. That one would cost us about $2.5 million. And again, it's a remodel of the existing gym, very small remodel, and then the addition of a practice gym. The next project is the New Tech Academy project. Again, that's a shell, and that would be about $4.5 million. And now, some of the projects that were not in the bond election, but are projects that we had hoped to do with the excess fund balance. If you look at project number 6, our girls softball field, over the years, we know that the field itself is a good field. But because of where it's built, there does seem to have some reoccurring flooding problems, and then we have to fix the field. We had talked about spending some money to first do some covered bleachers to where it would be something respectable that could accommodate a good crowd comfortably, and put artificial turf to help with a lot of the flooding and just provide an overall good field. Those two items combined is slightly over $1 million. Again, this is one of the projects that we were going to do with fund balance. The next project is the baseball field. Now, this baseball field is a little bit more expensive because the baseball field itself does not exist. And the purpose would be to relocate the baseball field right next to the softball field, because the current baseball field, we would use it as a new drop-off and pick-up point for the students. That field costs $2.5 million, again, because we have to start from scratch, but it would include artificial turf, covered bleachers, chain link fence, dugouts, and lighting. That would cost $2.5 million. Now, the project number 8 is a temporary fix. If you remember, we said that we would build a road connecting Wildcat and Memorial. This one just connects Wildcat to a smaller parking area to accommodate the softball and baseball field. And that's just to give the board some options. And that would cost $1.5 million. And again, it's just like the picture has it. It would just take the traffic from Wildcat to the parking area for those people visiting baseball and softball activities. Project number 9 is a water loop. And our goal there is to provide different access of water to the school and to do it before any of the road construction is done. So if we were going to do any road construction, which is project number 8 or the next project number 10, we really would have to do the water loop. We've delayed this project by about 4 years. We started out at a cost of $500,000, and now it's at a cost of $800,000. So just in the 4-year delay, it's gone up about $300,000. Now, project number 10, that includes the entire blacktop that would connect Wildcat and Memorial, along with all the other parking spaces. This would take a whole lot of traffic off of Memorial Drive, and it wouldn't appear that the schools are so packed, because it's only in that morning and the afternoon when we have traffic coming in from all directions that it creates it's a safety issue. So our goal would be to provide another area for students to be dropped off, picked up, a dedicated bus area, and it would really alleviate the traffic. But to do the entire project, it would cost $3.5 million plus the $800,000 in the water loop. If you'll notice, we didn't include the freshman campus on here because that in itself is just, that's a bond project, okay? And if you look at the next slide, the summary of projects, we don't have anywhere near the amount of money to complete all $28 million of these projects. So we would ask the board to just think about which projects they deem more urgent than others or would be great to have for students, and then provide some feedback so that we can see what direction we would go forward. Now, there is some money available. If you go to the next slide, thank you, Sandra, we can see that we have approximately $12.6 million in excess fund balance. And the line items here describe where that excess fund balance comes from. You'll notice that we're pending a lot of state aid from the wind farm tax value audit that we had. So we expect all of that money to start coming in because those audits are complete and they determined that that money was owed to us, as well as just excess fund balance that we've had over the years. So we have $12.6 million. I don't suggest that we spend all of it on projects, but the board certainly has some latitude in which projects they want to prioritize. Now, because the 12 million isn't enough or may not be enough to complete some of the projects, if the board chooses, we've explored the possibility of maintenance tax notes. And the next 3 slides show the possibility of borrowing $5 million, $7 million, or $10 million. In the very first slide, we see that we would have an annual payment of $370,000 if we borrowed $5 million. So this would give us the opportunity to do part of it from fund balance and part of it from a maintenance tax note. And the payment of $370,000 over the year would not be too much of an impact on our operational costs, because paying these tax notes would come from our maintenance and operation budget and not the interest and sinking. If we do $7 million, then we commit to paying $519,000 a year. And that probably becomes a little bit more difficult, and then obviously borrowing the $10 million, it would be $740,000. We put this information out here to give you some options. We don't recommend $10 million, although we could do it if we had some urgent needs. But we thought it would be an option to use maybe 7 or 8 million from fund balance and borrow 5 million, and that would give you the latitude to do something and still allow us to operate the district and have some excess fund balance should we come short on providing for raises, for example. So what we want to do next is, first we want your feedback, but we definitely want to get your feedback over the next 30 days some initial ideas tomorrow and some feedback over the next 30 days to determine, is there something that we want to do? Are there 2 or 3 items, 4 items that we want to do? And how much do they add up? I don't know if the board wants me to bring a recommendation in January or further discuss in January to bring a recommendation in February. We're just providing options for the board to see what direction you want us to go in. Mr. Best, at this point, I'll turn it over to you for any comments or questions.
Okay. My recommendation would be to wait until we have a first budget meeting and make a decision on this, because again, there's some uncertainties. You know, I know that the money is pending from the wind farm. I think we have our calendar already for the budget meetings set already for this meeting that we're going to be approving. And I believe the first meeting will be in March, somewhere in March.
Amy's going to present it, sure, but it's March or
Anyway.
April.
April would be the first budget meeting. Is there another one before that? No, okay, no, I was asking. I think there's a lot of consideration to be made by board members before we come to a decision on this, so, but at least be looking at those projects and kind of prioritizing, and we have conversations that we can have with Dr. Reyes. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Orfeld.
Just real quick, because I know Dr. Rossi said it's been about 4 years since we talked about the water loop. Remind me why we need a 12-inch water main and a 6-inch water main behind the stadium. Is the red line the main?
Yes, sir. A couple of thoughts, and I'll ask Mr. Chapa to come up just to, in case I miss something. Okay. Obviously, we eventually want to build a road there, and that's exactly where the road's going to go. So we want to put in the water loop before we do any construction over it. But the main reason to bring it is to provide a different access for water so that we would never have to be without water. Right now, we only have one access. Now, the water runs on the streets both ways, but we're only accessing the water from Memorial Drive. And should there ever be a need, we would not have enough water over a long period of time, however long it took them to repair that water line. And obviously provided enough water for both the high school and the freshman campus. Mr. Chapa, some other thoughts?
Yes, sir. Good evening once again. The current high school and freshman, as well as early college, is fed by a 6-inch line that's tapped into on Cantu Road. So if the city has a problem with their water mains and they need to shut off water in that area to make repairs, however long it takes, that automatically means early college, high school campus, high school, and freshmen do not have water for whatever period of time it takes for those repairs to take. So the purpose here is to tap into 2 different locations, one on Cantu Road, one on Wildcat Drive. Both of those existing city mains are 12-inch mains. For that reason, we would tie in with a proposed 12-inch main that gives us options. Should something happen on Cantu Road and the city needs to shut off water on that one, we still have water coming in from Wildcat. Now, the 6-inch line that would tap into the proposed 12 and tie in also to Main allows for the water pressure to be maintained at all times. Because if you only have one location, your water pressure can decrease. So that gives us options. The existing 6-inch line also provides for irrigation for the different campuses as well as for fire protection. So it's vital to have additional sources, waters. From that 12-inch line, they can tap into it and provide for irrigation or for fire safety suppression also, if required.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Almaraz.
Yes.
So
Mr. Almaraz?
just briefly, so I understand this, the blue is the, and I can't read it, but the blue is the existing water main, correct? And the green line is how we're tapped into the water?
Yes, sir. The
Okay.
blue existing city water mains and the green is what we existingly have.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Alindo?
I know we're going to be looking at the budget calendar, but if we, and I would assume that maybe we would know maybe something in April 2026, but when do we get a forecast of what, I guess, overage we have to be able to put in fund balance so we know what the 2026, 2027 fiscal year would look like? More or less.
So today is when we got the indication of the overage because we adopted the audit. So we already know what we have in overage. What we don't know is what type of expenses we want to have for next year. Always what costs more is the type of raise that we get. The budget is not going to be too drastically different from last year. But and the insurance is not going to be too big because now that we're in full coverage, we don't have those instabilities. We know that insurance might go up about 10% for the employees, maybe 12%. The only unknown is what the board is going to approve in terms of a raise. We're not going to give 12 million away in raises. So if the board feels comfortable waiting, we can. It's your decision. But those are the only insecurities. How different is our raise compared to our state aid? And we could add some programs that we don't have, but really the only unknown is what raise the board would give above and beyond what the state provides us. And it's usually, we've dipped into fund balance maybe 2.5 million, I think. Is that correct, Amy? In the past, but it's nowhere beyond that. There's nothing, the only thing about waiting is obviously construction costs go up. But there's no urgencies other than what we want to provide for the students.
I just want to probably give two different views. One, there's something pending from the state. They want to freeze taxes for people 55 and over, school taxes. That would affect the funding for the schools. That's one. The other one is moving the education department to the state level. That's a big question in regard to funding, how it would fall into place. But I think my biggest concern, and you probably know about this, Dr. Rios, is freezing the school taxes for people that are 55 and over. Sometimes you think about it and you say, well, they don't have any kids in school anymore. But yet it affects the funding for schools more than anything. And so those are issues that I would like to find out first, even though they take effect 27. We still have a couple of years, but that's a proposed thing that might be coming later on this year. Anyway, those are thoughts. So, Mr. Alito?
Well, I mean, just to follow up, so the 12,632, we basically won't know any adjustment on that until next December after the audit comes through. So this is pretty much a set in stone number minus any expenses that the district wishes to incur when it comes to raises or any type of construction project. We really won't know anything till December 2026 when this audit is completely done. That's how we are understanding the fund balance as of now for the next year.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What we have right now, we're going to have it until December,
Okay.
and there won't be no impact
Okay.
to it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, at least, think about the priorities, that we can have conversations with that.
I want to make sure, there's nothing that you want me to bring back in January? I'm just checking.
What is the board's decision on this?
I
Ms.
don't,
Sorfeld?
I don't think, I don't think January action is needed. I think we need, because we're gonna lose several weeks because of holidays and stuff like that. And I want to be sure that the board members have time to digest and look over these different things. Maybe a proposal after talking with everybody, after we come back after break, perhaps a proposal in February could be presented to the board, that this is kind of where it looks like what we're thinking. There in February might be a good one to see, okay, this is what the kind of the overall consensus of the board is, and then that takes us into, takes us into the next step. I just think January would be just a little too early, but February would probably be good for something to present back, just as, this is what it could possibly look like after talking with everybody.
Okay, good.
I think we need a little bit more time. Everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right. Then, we'll
Now
go
we're
on.
done.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Sandra. We'll go into the consent agenda. Again, there's minutes of a regular meeting. There's donations. There's some purchase orders that are substantial. Again, donations will be posted in social media, Dr. Rios?
They already have, sir.
Okay.
They already have been.
Again, as always, we appreciate every donation by individuals or organizations or businesses. We appreciate all the support we get from individuals and organizations. Dr. Rios, anyone has a question on any item before we?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Orfeld?
I have just a question on G3, G6. Just kind of update or some explanation more than what was in the packet.
Okay, G3, consideration to approve a contract over 5,000 with Education Service Center, Region 15, the amount not to exceed 5,600. Funding source, general fund for the school counselor time tracker. Goodbye to paper software. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, Dr. Rios, President Mesa, and members of the board. Mr. Overfelt, in response to that question, the counselors are required to document time and effort. This particular database will have a common area for all of the counselors to use that same database so that we're able to track their time. And also, when we're, if in the event that we are audited by the Texas Education Agency, we will have that one database available and ready to use.
Yeah, perfect. I know that several House bills and Senate bills dealt with the 80-20 rule and all that. And I think the only thing I wanted for clarification that was throwing me when I was looking at it, it said in the contract that, and maybe it's just the way it was worded, that we already that we were already doing this, and that's what I was like, no, I don't think we're doing this. This was
The
going
Region
to be.
Service Center provided a year of service at their cost.
Okay.
They are no longer funding the time tracker. And so they have reached out to us to ask us that if we want to continue using it, we will now be responsible for funding it and maintaining it.
Okay, so what we've been doing this school year and all that, is it a digital repository already, or is it all still paper-based? Because that,
Some of them have used their own Google document, but are going to easily transfer over to Goodbye to Paper. They can now transfer the information that they've been documenting this school year into that that database.
oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Item 6, consideration to approve a contract over $5,000 with Subject AI in the amount not to exceed $5,000. Funding source, Fund 289, Title 4, Part A, Student Support Academic Enrichment.
Sorry.
For a 6-month district pilot that includes licenses for credit recovery and preparation sources for AP, TSI, and end of course for grades 9 through 12.
Good evening, President
Jane,
Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board.
The question was, because I guess in the presentation that Mr. Beda gave earlier, we used
Ingenuity?
that one.
Yes, sir.
And this one here, since it talks about it's going to be a pilot program for the credit recovery and all, which is essentially this one. We're going to try something new. The kiddos or the students who maybe are currently in the Ed 1 and are getting close to completion, we're not going to pull them off that and then put them into an experimental one or anything. We're going to have a test subject group or something like that?
Yes, sir, that's exactly correct. We will not jeopardize any of our students that are making progress and close to receiving their credits. We are going to try this through students that are maybe commencing or closer to, so we're going to try it with a select group.
So like instead, like say you've got seniors on there right now who are trying to do credit recovery through the Ed 1, the test subject group will probably be like maybe juniors,
Juniors, yes.
or sophomore, or they're going to be, they would ultimately be.
Let me add something, Mr. Overflow.
Yes, please.
They're going to have a meeting with the high school principal and with the principal from early college high school and blended. There are some subjects in Ingenuity that prove difficult. So the test pilot program could very well be just in that one subject area, like science, for example, to see if the graphics and the videos are easier for students to comprehend and have more success. Both programs are going to be running parallel to each other. The test group will be in the areas that we have difficulty in and in areas that perhaps are not provided. So for example, if somebody goes to the alternative school, what courses can they do that aren't currently done? So for example, this one has some programs in CTE that could very well transfer over there so that when they come back, there isn't a reason to have the students removed from that CTE program. So we would just want to explore it and run it in parallel. And it's only costing us $5,000.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I was just looking for some more clarification. So yeah, that totally makes sense, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a question on F1, consideration to approve a purchase order over $25,000 to Precision Body Works in the amount not to exceed $33,925.69. This is for the activity bus number 3.
Yes, sir. I'll take it, Sandra. Mr. Mesa, for a very long time, we had a bus, an activity bus, that was taken to Lubbock because that's where the body shop is. And very little progress had been done on the bus. We asked Mr. Rick Torres to drive to Lubbock and to visit with the body shop people and determine what progress had been done on the bus because we were growing concerned. And to push them to finish the other 25% of the work that hadn't been done. He drove over there, very brave of him, took a one-day trip, left all the way to Lubbock in the morning, came back. He determined that there was significant work that was done on the bus, but there was items pending. We collected, if I correct me, Amy, We corrected approximately $18,000 in insurance for the damages to the bus, but the repairs cost $33,000. They will be done with the repairs to that student activity bus in 30 days, and we will have to pay $33,000, of which $18,000 was collected from the insurance.
So how was the damage caused?
If I remember correctly, Mr. Mesa, because it has been a number of years, it was, the bus was going under a overpass, doing the U-turn. These were extended buses. The bus drivers did not gauge the tactical diameter that it would take to turn and hit the bus along the cement area there. Nobody was hurt, nothing happened, but the bus was extensively damaged.
So it was left in Lubbock?
No, sir, it was hauled to Lubbock. The incident happened in San Antonio, and the bus was hauled all the way to Lubbock because that's where the repair shop was.
So my question is the value of the bus exceeds the amount of repairs?
Absolutely, no, sir. These are very good buses. They're activity buses. They have limited miles on them. This one has even more limited miles because the accident happened a number of years ago. So it's well worth the $33,000 investment.
Okay. Anyone else? We're good? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. Arlinda made a motion, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Again, the donations will be listed on social media. Go on to administration, item 10A. Consideration to approve the first reading and final reading of TASB Localized Policy Manual, Update 126, Part 1, affecting policies DBE, BED, CJ Local, CJA Local, CLE Local, CQB Local, CQD Local, and CV Local. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. What you have today is the very first part of a large group of policy drafts that are being presented to school districts in our school district from the recent 89th regular legislative session. So the Board Policy Committee met on Tuesday, December 2nd to review the first group of these proposed drafts. And the recommendations include the following. Under BE Local, Senate Bill 12 prompted new language at meeting place and time, indicating that board meetings will be held outside of typical hours. Language at notice to members has been adjusted to reflect House Bill 1522, which requires board agendas to be posted 3 business days rather than 72 hours before the meeting. In response to House Bill 1522, language requiring that agenda items must be submitted 6 calendar days before a meeting provides the district sufficient time to compile items and post the agenda by the statutory deadline. Senate Bill 413 requires roll call voting, so the language at record vote has been revised accordingly. BED Local, board meetings, public participation. The recommended revisions to this policy comply with Senate Bill 12 requirements that the public comment occur at the beginning of board meetings. Under CJ Local Contracted Services, following Senate Bill 12 requirements, new provisions in this policy reflect that contractors may not engage in or assign instructional activities prohibited by law or diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI duties. The violations will result in the termination of the contract. Under CJA Local Contracted Services, background checks and required reporting, The subtopic name has been adjusted to background checks and required reporting to more accurately describe the contents of the legal framework at this code. The CLE local policy, buildings, grounds, and equipment management record required displays. The subtopic name has been adjusted to required displays to more accurately describe the contents of the legal framework at this code and Senate Bill 10's requirements regarding displaying the 10 Commandments. At CQB local, technology resources, cybersecurity, recommended revisions comply with House Bill 150, which moves cybersecurity training requirements from the Department of Information Resources to Texas Cyber Command and includes details about notifications for cybersecurity incidences in addition to security breaches. At CQD local, artificial intelligence, this is a new recommended policy. It addresses artificial intelligence training requirements based on House Bill 150 and House Bill 1500, as well as the use of artificial intelligence by district employees and students. Under CV local, facilities construction, as reflected in CH legal, the competitive purchasing threshold established in law has changed from $50,000 to $100,000. The language at construction contracts is recommended for revision here to refer to the legal threshold rather than the specific dollar amount. So policy BJA local establishes the superintendent's delegation authority, therefore the designee term has been recommended for deletion. And these are the policies that are being presented to you this evening as a first and final reading for this first part of the update, TASB Update 126.
And just to remind the board members, this has gone through a committee review, policy review committee. Any questions for Sandra? Being none, no questions, you want to read the recommendation, please?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the first and final reading of TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 126, Part 1, affecting policies BE local, board meetings, BED local, board meetings, public participation, CJ local, contracted services, CJA local, contracted services, background checks and required reporting, CLE local, buildings, grounds, and equipment management, required displays, CQB local, technology resources, cybersecurity, CQD local, artificial intelligence, and CV local, facility construction as presented.
For the recommendation, those are long policies, and it's only part of Update 126. There's a lot of,
We have more to go.
I know, we went over with TASB, and there's huge. The update is huge. But anyway, these are part of it. The recommendation's been made. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Mr. Diego Almaraz, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, sir.
Sandra, I'll do item 10B. You read the recommendation, though.
Okay.
Last year, we went through a board workshop, and we reviewed the goals on the strategic development plan, and we agreed that those would be the goals for the board for the superintendent's evaluation. The document that was shared with y'all, all it does is it transcribes the goals for the strategic development plan to the superintendent's evaluation instrument with those measurable objectives on there. We had agreed we would do that about 5 months ago, and here's a document.
Okay.
Are there any questions on?
Yeah. Item B, consideration to approve the superintendent's evaluation instrument, and it's included in your book. Any questions? Everybody understand that the strategic plan has been incorporated into those goals. There being no questions, recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is a recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 Superintendent's Evaluation Instrument as presented.
For the recommendation, motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We've already done 13A. We'll go on to 13B. Consideration to approve the 2026-2027 Budget Development Calendar. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is time to start our 2026-2027 budget planning process. And as part of your book, we have presented a budget calendar to help guide us. And again, these are recommended dates. These can be moved around as needed.
Questions for Amy? I almost need a magnifying glass to see these dates. So the first budget meeting will be
Tentatively scheduled for
April.
April 16th or 30th. I'm
Okay.
waiting to hear back from TASB on when they can be here to present the pay maintenance.
Okay. Any questions for Amy? And these dates are subject to change anyway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Being no questions, recommendation, please.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the budget development calendar to guide the fiscal year 2026-2027 budgeting process.
For its recommendation, is there a motion? Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mr. Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Human Resources, item 14A, consideration to approve the 2025-2026 TPES calendar, appraisal calendar. Amy Childress.
Good evening once again. The TPES evaluation tool is the tool that the district uses to evaluate our campus administrators, our principals, and assistant principals. And this is just a timeline that we have put together to help guide that process.
Any questions for Amy? Hearing none, recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the 2025-2026 TPES appraisal calendar as discussed.
For the recommendation, motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Becky Chavez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the time is 7:47 PM. We're going to go into closed session pursuant to policy 551.074 and 551.071 of the Texas Education Code. If any action is required, it will be taken upon reconvening into open session. We're now in closed session. Okay, the time is 8:42 PM. We're reconvening to open session. No action was taken in executive. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve the personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the resignations, retirements, and vacancies as discussed in closed session and the following new personnel: Alyssa Torres, pre-kindergarten teacher at Irene Cardwell Elementary; Kimberly Hernandez, music teacher at Ceniza Hills Elementary; and Noel Tarango, mathematics teacher at Del Rio High School.
Any questions for Amy? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Orfeld, seconded by Mr. Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 18B, consideration to approve the position of academic support specialist. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Diana Gonzalez for academic support specialist at Del Rio Freshman.
Read the recommendation. Is there a motion? Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries
Thank you.
unanimously. Item C, consideration to approve the position of 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Site Coordinator. Amy Childress.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve Santa Calderon for 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Site Coordinator at San Felipe Memorial Middle School.
Read the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Maraz, seconded by Mr. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item D, possible action regarding reorganization of Superintendent's Cabinet. Dr. Rios.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is the recommendation of the administration that the board approve the reorganization of the superintendent's cabinet as discussed in closed session.
Read the recommendation. Motion made by Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mrs. Webb. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item E, possible action to enter a resolution approving the public sale pursuant to Section 34.05I of the Texas Property Tax Code of certain real properties previously struck off to the taxing authorities pursuant to Section 3401C by the Texas Property Tax Code for delinquent and ad valorem taxes assessed, and allow the public sale of the properties to the highest bidder. Amy Childress.
Good evening. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees accept the bid submitted by the City of Del Rio and enter a resolution approving the public sale of certain real properties previously struck off to the taxing authorities pursuant to Section 34.01C of the Texas Property Tax Code for delinquent ad valorem taxes assessed to said properties as discussed in closed session.
Read the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Mr. Almaraz, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Again, board members, I left some information on your desk pertaining some key data information. 2025 accountability rating, salary, teacher salary comparison, district average to the national average, special feature called tracking the district dollar, which visualizes how your district's funds are spent, and names of Texas lawmakers representing your district. So with that being said, there's no other items on the agenda. There's a motion for adjournment from Mr. Galindo, seconded by Mr. Almaraz. All those in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone. Merry Christmas.